I'm going to cover the most common building mistakes I see when I look at other people's bases. Bear in mind that these mistakes are usually made by little bit better builders than just people starting out building. Number 1. Lack of quality turrets. First, we need to break down what is a quality turret. It's a turret that is expensive to raid and it has good coverage and angles. Never ever do this kind of turret open like this, that is pointed towards the compound walls. It's pretty stupid because when they raid, they can just easily shoot it from the raid base, and it doesn't cost to anything basically to raid because you can just splash damage it when you're raiding. Now, turrets are one of the most crucial part when making a base that is hard to raid. You can make them more expensive to raid with ramps and chain links. However, to get most out of these, check out this video. I also put it in the description. It explains them really well. How I create quality turrets when I'm building is that I save spots for them. For example, if I was middle of building this base and I realized that this part here has 0 turrets, I would save spots for these turrets, for example, and then try to build the rest around these turrets. For example, when I was building this base, I saved spot for this one and also for these ones. I wanted to combine these two, and this turret, I also saved a little spot for it because I needed one overall turret, and that works great. Number 2, overall turret coverage on roof and in compound. I see way too many blind spots from turrets, especially on people's roofs and in compound. Basically, your roof and compound shouldn't have single blind spot anywhere. Basically, this is fully covered everywhere, and it doesn't have a blind spots for turrets, which is kinda necessary. However, compound can lack more in this category, since it's very hard to cover behind these large furnaces, and it doesn't really matter since they are gonna blow these up anyway. And when they blow them up, you can see, or the turret can actually see there. So, how do you fix this then? Well, you shouldn't add more turrets. That would be stupid, and you will still have problems since only one turret covers that one spot. What I like to do is I have a couple turrets a bit higher and covering pretty much the entire roof, and then I just add a couple more to cover the other spots, and these turrets also are pointed towards the open core. Number 3, lack of good progression. Often people have bad progression because they just have completely ignored it. Best way to have good progression is to have a couple stages of the base in which the base is completely usable and safe. You can make better progression, for example with breach peaks, early game shooting floors, and having more loot rooms and bunkers available when you progress towards the next stage of the base. There are also some things that make your progression usually worse, as some cores, for example normal open core and especially white core, and then ring core like here, and inverter cores, because it's the expansion in those is really bad. Number 4, bad mobility. This is something I see a lot of people struggling with, even though it's a very crucial part of the base. There are tons of ways your mobility could be off, but here are probably the most common ones. It's not consistent, or it's all over the place. For example, if you don't have mobility shoots and you just do random jump ups one there and one there, and not enough mobility shoots, basically the same thing, but not quite. Since if you don't have enough mobility chutes, you lack mobility just differently. Connections between floors are bad, and that basically just means that you don't have a mobility chute between, for example, this red ring down here and this defense ring up here. And finally, people using ladder hatches. Ladder hatches are just not good. Use ladder hatches only in very specific scenarios, such as quick mobility chute between shooting floor and ground, and then the ladder grenade trick, which I can show you. Basically, you have the ladder hatch like this, and then you stick a grenade to it, and it goes through the floor and blows down here. So basically this would be your starter and this would be open core or something else. The reason ladder hatches are so bad is that you have no way of shooting to the upper floor, and you're very exposed when climbing it, and if it's blown you have no way to the upper floor. Number 5. Lack of angles downwards and quality angles. This is something that most people are not even aware of, and it's peaking angles down to the compound. Let me be clear with this. You should be able to cover at least 99% of the compound from the shooting floor or roof, as in this case. If you can't, there is very high chance for a grub or a raider to hide next to your base very safely, and you won't be able to kill it because you don't have the angles to that spot. The second thing is that your peak should be high quality. So you should be able to be safe in your shooting floor during a raid while still having good peaks and coverage to the compound and outside of it. This includes having head glitch peaks and tight angles. Check out this video next to learn more about building.